talked a little bit about Ohtani. We kind of have a thing on this show where we like to really highlight Ohtani and, everything that he's doing.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Ohtani's performance yesterday and his pitching.
Yeah, so Detmers throws that no-hitter, and then the very next day, you have to face Shohei Ohtani. Shohei takes the mound and again was great. He was fantastic on the mound again. And it's becoming apparent that if Shohei wasn't a hitter, he would be pitching. He would be pitching every 5 days as opposed to a 6-man rotation. He would be throwing more often, and he would certainly be up there as a leading candidate for the Cy Young Award, as I believe he is right now. He should be up there in the conversation for the Cy Young Award. He was fantastic the other night. He didn't go super long into the game, and they didn't end up giving him much run support, any run support. But again, he dominated, he looked great, and he was pulled, I believe, producer Conrad, let me know if I'm wrong, but there was some fatigue involved in that outing, correct?
Yeah, and that's kind of one big question I had for you, and this is something that I remember last year when you sat down with A-Rod and Big Poppy at the desk downstairs. And the number one thing that A-Rod and Poppy said was impressive about Shohei Ohtani was his ability to be able to do both of these at a high level, and how much, and like at the time, it was kind of like they were making a little bit of fun of it, but they're like, this guy can't have a life.
Yeah.
Like how hard it is to like the regimen you have to put your body through to be prepared every single day for this.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm often asked, like, what is it about Shohei Ohtani? How did this start? How did you become his #1 fan? How did you become best friends? That's a great question. We're best of friends. But, it is remarkable. And the answer to that question of why, how did this appreciation start? It's from my days in college where I was playing as a two-way player. It is, and was at the time for me, so difficult to be a two-way guy. I would constantly find myself, if I was supposed to be taking BP, I was off somewhere throwing a bullpen. If I was supposed to be doing some little pitching drills, I was on the field taking BP. I would always find myself picking and choosing what was more important. And the result of that was not being the best at either of them. I wasn't great at any one of them. Then I picked hitting and became great at it and was an All-American that next year because I stopped doing both. So now I see him doing it at the highest level, and all I can think about every time he goes out there is, I don't understand how he does this, how he gets his body ready, how he prepares, how he gets ready to hit against a guy that's going to be throwing 100 miles an hour with 92-mile-an-hour sliders while he's also preparing to go out there and throw 100 miles an hour with a nasty splitter. I don't understand how he's able to do that. It's truly remarkable. But we saw the other day that he comes out after 6 innings, and he noted that his fastball velocity was down. He didn't feel his best, but said he's not injured or worried about any arm issues. Joe Madden just said Ohtani looked fatigued but was still effective, especially with breaking pitches. Struck out his last 2 hitters. That's great. That's fine. Every once in a while, you're going to have a start. Okay, he's been throwing a lot of pitches. Maybe this start, we'll use it as a little bit of a deload. Let's plan on throwing 5-6 innings, and that's just what he did. He went out there, he threw 6 innings, he threw really well, and I walked away really impressed again with Shohei Ohtani and what he does. I mean, it leaves me speechless a lot of times, truly, because of what it takes off of the field. And I hope that's what people appreciate. Yes, see what's happening on the field. See what's happening at the plate and on the pitcher's mound. But know what is going on behind the scenes is absolutely remarkable and difficult to do. It truly is special. I tweeted this out after his outing. We don't talk about enough, not me, about how good of a pitcher Shohei Ohtani is. 6 innings, 1 earned, 2 hits, 5 Ks the other night. We talk about him as a hitter all the time. We talk about him as a two-way player. That's kind of the thing. Shohei has so much power, and he does both. No. Shohei Ohtani is a Cy Young caliber pitcher, and he is a Silver Slugger caliber hitter. You're combining an all-star on each side of the ball, and he's doing both. But don't get it twisted. It's just not a guy he's a hitter, and he also goes out there and pitches every few days. He's fantastic at both.
Yeah, a lot of places do these things. I think it's GQ that does it, where they ask like famous athletes or famous like actors, actresses, like, hey, you have essential top 10 things that you cannot live without. You take everywhere with you, no matter where you go. I'm not sure if you read this article on Ohtani, but I found it so good in so Ohtani fashion. The top 10 things that are on his essential list: an iPad to watch his past performances and to get a game plan for his next team, his perfect pillow so he doesn't ever strain his neck, takes it everywhere with him, his cell phone, a game-ready ice machine. Again, these are essential things that Ohtani feels like he has to take everywhere. A hard maple bat, a glove, cleats, a heart rate monitor, compression pants, and weighted sleep mask.
So when people would answer things like cell phone, food, like that sort of stuff, he's answering hard maple bat, ice machine. I absolutely love that. I would answer my Shohei Ohtani pillow, which is also perfect. It's a perfect pillow. My Shohei Ohtani bobbleheads, my Shohei Ohtani blanket. So I feel like it's kind of similar on the things we would bring along.
No, absolutely. I guess the biggest point that I think we're really trying to drive home to people is that none of this happens just by like random fact of like, well, he just so happened to be really good at both. It's like he lives and breathes this game, and we talked about it last week, where we believe he's the new face of Major League Baseball. Whether people will believe or not that there is a language barrier that might not allow him to be in the U.S., I believe it's baloney. Like, this guy is all about the love of baseball, and it shows. You read a list like this, and you're like, oh my God, this guy loves nothing more than just playing baseball.
Yeah. It is remarkable. And you look back to, it started with Shohei's childhood. He was always reading this fictional story of a kid that grew up and became a baseball player. He was a two-way star and then ended up going to America and playing for a baseball team in Anaheim and taking the world by storm. He's literally living that out in real life, and he would stop at nothing to accomplish his dreams. He had his own dream board. Baseball is his life, and it shows. You see it. You see it every single day, and that's what it has to take to do what he does on both sides of the ball. It is his life, and it's remarkable to see.
It absolutely is. And I'm sure before our next show coming out on Monday, he's going to probably do 2 or 3 other things that are absolutely ridiculous that we'll have to talk about.
Thanks for watching. If you love flipping bats, swinging 3-0, or just talking ball, join us. Call us at 213-537-9339 with your questions. We have a weekly guest, and we have a lot of fun, so hit that subscribe button.